Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Friday Night Smackdown review. And this is a out-of-date Smackdown review, and this is going to be a review of the July 3rd edition of Smackdown from this past Friday. And if you guys haven't checked out my Dynamite review, uploaded yesterday on, of course, the 4th of July. So definitely check out my Dynamite review of Night 1 of Fyter Fest, if you guys haven't checked it out. And hope you all had a good 4th of July yesterday. I had a good 4th of July after I did the Dynamite review. Went to a friend's house, they barbecued, and got to watch the fireworks that they were shooting off, in the neighborhood that they were living in. So, but yeah, had a fun 4th of July. But SmackDown, I thought the show was okay. I had a really entertaining first hour. The second hour, I thought was, I could give it, I could say it was a passable hour, but the first hour of SmackDown was entertaining, was absolutely entertaining. But let's jump right into the review. So SmackDown opened up, and we saw the NXT superstars and future talent. They were all wearing masks, which was good to see, because when they were behind the plexiglass, a few months back, they weren't wearing masks. So I'm glad WWE let them, of course, wear their masks, to protect everybody there from the COVID. So that was good to see. WWE finally giving a shit and having their NXT stars and future development talents, wear masks. But WWE and their whole COVID shit, it's nothing but a mess over there at the Performance Center with what's going on over there. But SmackDown opened up with Michael Cole. Michael Cole was in the ring. He brought out the original bro, Matt Riddle. So Matt Riddle ended up making his way out. We had the NXT stars and future developments and the crowd cheer him on. Corey Graves on commentary. He was talking about Matt Riddle's in-ring debut, which was 3 weeks ago already. And he was talking about, his debut match against AJ Styles, which that was a very entertaining, good match. So Matt Riddle was in the ring. Michael Cole ended up asking Matt Riddle about the recent win over AJ Styles. Matt Riddle ended up talking about how his debut went. He ended up saying that he's pretty sure he likes Styles more than Styles likes him. And he was talking about how special it was after he defeated Styles, how he got to celebrate with the other SmackDown stars in the ring. And Michael Cole then ended up asking Matt Riddle why he competes with no shoes on. I'm like, does anybody care that Matt Riddle competes with no shoes on? Why did they bring this up? I'm like, who cares if Matt Riddle competes with no shoes on? You had Umaga did it back in the day. Umaga, may he rest in peace. And you had Rusev do it. You had the Von Erichs do it, back in the day also. Rusev, of course, when he was in NXT, and then when they brought him up to the main roster, he wasn't wearing any shoes until Vince McMahon had the good idea, and WWE had the good idea to put Rusev in boots. So I'm like, why are we talking about, why Matt Riddle competes with no shoes on? Does it really matter? So Matt Riddle ended up saying, that's a good question. And he ends up saying, people at home are probably wondering the same thing. He ends up telling the story that when he was a kid, he and his family went on vacation. He ended up saying that there at the hotel that they were staying at, he played in the pool and went outside to play in the snow after that. He ended up saying that he did this for a few days, and that from all this, he caught a case of frostbite. Matt Riddle ended up saying that the doctor thought about amputating his feet, but Matt Riddle ended up pulling through, and that it didn't happen. He didn't have to get his feet amputated. Matt Riddle ended up explaining that when he puts shoes on, he feels the same burning sensation. He says he never wears shoes, regardless of the occasion. Matt Riddle ended up saying that he also learned something else that day, is that you can learn anything in a moment. He ended up saying that he can't feel anything with his feet, but it helps him feel elsewhere that much more. So Michael Cole then starts to ask Matt Riddle, what's next for him? But then Corbin ended up coming out, and as Corbin's music ended up playing and him coming out, I imagine all of you were already picking up the remotes to mute the TV. So when Corbin came out, this whole segment just got killed right there. So Michael Cole ended up stepping away as Corbin ended up coming into the ring. Corbin then ended up calling Matt Riddle an idiot. Corbin ended up saying that Cole embarrassed himself last week and that he's out here giving Riddle airtime. Saying, why is Matt Riddle, getting, airtime? Corbin should not be getting any airtime. Of how boring his promos are. Nobody wants to see Corbin. Every time when Corbin comes out, people are either changing the channel or putting the TV on mute. So Corbin ended up ordering Michael Cole to get out of the ring. The superstars, the NXT stars, and future developments were booing Corbin. They were booing him loudly. Corbin ended up saying that he came out to talk. He came out to talk about Riddle's little stunt from last week, where Matt Riddle ended up doing that dive off the top onto Corbin, and the other stars in that gained up on Corbin. Corbin ended up saying that Riddle should bow down to him due to the show of disrespect. Corbin ended up saying that this won't be tolerated and that everyone should bow down to him. So Corbin ended up saying that he doesn't like Matt Riddle. He ended up saying that no one is glad Riddle is here and no one wants him here. Corbin ended up saying that he is here to make sure Riddle pays for every second he's out here. So Matt Riddle ended up replying to Corbin. He ended up telling Corbin, "You do you, bro." Corbin was like to Matt Riddle, "What does that even mean?" He ended up saying that Matt Riddle better be ready for a match at any moment. So Corbin ends up knocking Matt Riddle's hat off, and Matt Riddle was ready to go at it at Corbin. And Corbin ends up telling Matt Riddle that he can't just walk in and get handed a chance to face the King. So he's like, Corbin was like to Riddle, here is the opponent or the guy you're going to face. So then out came John Morrison. John Morrison, of course, came out. The Miz was alongside of him, of course. So then we had the match. Matt Riddle versus John Morrison. And this was a very good match. This was a great match between Matt Riddle and John Morrison. Back and forth between them. The match started off with, of course, Matt Riddle kicking his flip-flops off at Corbin. And Corbin was on commentary here. And I'm like, we had to suffer with Corbin on commentary during like 15 minutes of the match, I would say. So Morrison and Riddle end up locking up. And Riddle was staring Morrison down. Morrison ended up rocking Riddle with a forearm. There was one point in the match where Riddle was on the floor. He ended up taking his flip-flop, throws it at Corbin, who was on commentary, and Corbin, didn't like that, so he went up to the ring apron. Smackdown went to a commercial, and there was a picture going around, a funny picture where Matt Riddle's flip-flop, I guess it got close to Corey Graves, and the face that Corey Graves ended up making was hilarious, with the flip-flop, almost coming towards him. Oh, it's circulating online here, but when I saw that, I was just laughing. So then we had, at the end of the match, Matt Riddle ends up winning the match, where John Morrison ended up rolling Matt Riddle up for a 2 count. Riddle ended up coming back, rolled up John Morrison. There you go. Matt Riddle ended up winning the match. And post-match, Matt Riddle ended up making his way out, make his way back to backstage. We had AJ Styles. Styles ended up rushing out, ended up attacking Riddle, dropped him from behind. And then Drew Gulak ended up running out, ends up attacking Styles. We had officials end up trying to break the brawl up. And SmackDown then went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we had John Morrison, The Miz, and Corbin backstage. Sarah Schreiber was trying to interview John Morrison. And The Miz ends up cutting Schreiber off. And he was like, oh, this is not the best time right now. So Corbin ends up promising to pull some strings. And he wants to make sure that Matt Riddle's career is going to be hurt. So that was that. Then we had Gulag versus Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. And this was supposed to originally happen last week. But since, it was the tribute to the Undertaker show, it didn't happen. It didn't happen along with the, the toast, the Sheamus toast to Jeff Hardy, which we did end up getting later on, which was the main event. So this was Gulak and Styles Intercontinental Championship match. This was a good match, in my opinion. We had Styles end up striking Gulak when the match started. Styles ended up working Gulak over, sending him out to the floor. There was points in the match where we went to Daniel Bryan, who was on a Zoom convo, and he was talking about, Gulak. So we saw that. And Styles ended up winning the match, ended up delivering the phenomenal forearm to Gulak. Styles ended up covering Gulak. There you go. Styles wins, still retains the Intercontinental Championship. But all in all, good match from Gulak and Styles. And then we had Sasha and Bayley make their way out. And they get into the ring. And Sasha ended up saying that she doesn't want to talk about the NXT Great American Bash, which I still have yet to watch. I'll probably watch it after I'm done with this review. I heard it was a good show, so I'm definitely going to give that a watch. So they end up going on about how no one respects the both of them here. How nobody respects Sasha and Bayley, except for The Undertaker. So then we had Bayley do an impersonation of The Undertaker, which she referred to as Taker. So she was recalling how Taker allegedly called her on her phone, and that he thanked them for paying tribute. And that he thanked them for paying tribute to, him. So she ended up saying Taker allegedly went on about how he can't wait for Sasha and Bayley to win at Extreme Rules, and how he wants WWE to pay tribute to the both of them. So then we had Sasha end up leading us to a tribute, and we got a video package of Sasha and Bayley, of their matches and moments over the past few years, and we got new interviews with them both. So it was a pretty very well put together video package. So then, as we went back into the Performance Center after the video package was over, they were both chanting, thank you, Bayley, thank you, Sasha. And then out came Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So Bliss and Nikki Cross end up coming out, and Sasha ended up dismissing the idea that Nikki Cross could beat Bayley at Extreme Rules. And both Bliss and Nikki Cross were reading off of a paper, which this was lame. This was very lame. And Bliss ended up going on to defend, her, but Nikki Cross ended up speaking up and talking about becoming the next champion. So, with that said, we had Bayley and Sasha both laughing at Bliss and Nikki Cross. And, we had Bliss end up punching Bayley. Sasha ended up talking Bayley into a match. And Bliss ended up accepting the challenge. And pretty much that was basically that. But, I liked the segment with just Sasha and Bayley there. And then when Alexa and Nikki came out, it was just lame, in my opinion, where they just had them reading off a paper. That was that. Of course, then we had Bayley and Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Match was terrible. Bayley ended up winning by disqualification because we had back and forth between Bayley and Alexa. Bayley ended up hitting a running clothesline to Alexa Bliss, and she ended up kicking out at 2. Bayley ended up taunting Bliss while she was down. Nikki Cross was trying to get the NXT superstars and future developments to get behind Bliss. Sorry about that, but I was saying you had Nikki Cross trying to get the NXT stars and future developments to get behind Alexa Bliss. Bayley was yelling at her. Nikki Cross ended up getting on top of the ring apron, and the referee was warning her to get down. Sasha ended up taking advantage of the distraction, and she ended up decking Alexa from the ring apron. And that led to Nikki Cross coming over and delivering a clothesline to Sasha on on the outside. Bayley ended up yelling at Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross ended up punching Bayley. Referee saw it. Referee calls for the bell. And there we have a disqualification. Post-match, Nikki Cross ended up getting a few shots to Bayley. Sasha ended up pulling Bayley out, to safety. And that was basically that. But match was terrible. Moving on. We had Michael Cole and Corey Graves end up leading us to a preview for the Swamp fight between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt at Extreme Rules Horror Show. And yes, WWE ended up taking out of the Extreme Rules name because originally it was Extreme Rules The Horror Show, and now WWE is calling it Extreme Rules Horror Show instead of having the in the title. Doesn't really make a difference. But we saw, a swamp. It was like footage of, like there was alligators and, water, certain bugs there. But we had like a preview of that. So we're going to be seeing that at Extreme Rules Horror Show. The swamp match between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. The old school Buzzards Bray Wyatt. We'll be seeing that. So then we had Kofi Kingston versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Of course, Kofi came out along with Big E. Cesaro made his way out first, and then Nakamura. But this match itself, it was decent. Wasn't great or perfect by any means. But we had the match start off. Kofi ended up doing a drop kick to Nakamura in the corner. Kofi then stomped on Nakamura in the corner. Nakamura ended up getting back up. Kofi ended up laying some drop kicks to Nakamura into the turnbuckles. There was a point in the match where Jessica Carr ended up throwing Cesaro and Big E. She sent them both back, backstage because we had Big E end up coming over, end up attacking Cesaro from behind. Because Cesaro ended up nailing Kofi with a cheap shot because Nakamura had Jessica Carr distracted. So, and there was a funny point where Kofi ended up countering and sent Nakamura into the plexiglass, and then all you hear is Big E going, ha 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 ha. He was like laughing so hard, which was hilarious. And then Corey Graves on commentary was like, oh, do we have a mute button to mute Big E? Which was hilarious. But Nakamura ended up getting the win, ended up hitting a sliding knee to Kofi. So there you go. Nakamura ended up winning the match. Post-match, Cesaro ended up coming back out. Cesaro ends up going under the ring, ended up bringing a table out. Big E ends up running back out, stops Cesaro from coming back into the ring. And Big E was going to go for the big ending, but Cesaro ended up retreating out of the ring. Big E ended up coming into the ring, and Nakamura ended up retreating to the floor. And that was basically that. Well, in all, the match itself, it was decent. Wasn't great by any means. Nothing special. So then Michael Cole was on commentary when Smackdown came back from commercial, and he announced that next week WWE is going to be playing the Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman match from Money in the Bank. So there you go. That's your bathroom break right there. Or if you have anything else to watch, if you want to do some dishes, there's your break right there. You have that match playing, and it's going to have a lot of commercials there. And the match itself wasn't even that good to begin with. So we're going to be seeing that next Friday on SmackDown. It was then also announced it's going to be Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross is going to be facing Bayley and Sasha. Of course, non-title match. We're going to be seeing that next week. And the New Day is going to be facing Cesaro and Nakamura, and the Smackdown Tag Team titles are going to be on the line. So we're going to be seeing all that next week on SmackDown. And then we had the toast to Jeff Hardy. Sheamus toasting Jeff Hardy. This was the main event. And, I first heard about this from Wrestling with Heat. Good YouTuber on here. I watch his videos. I was talking to him on his live stream on Friday after SmackDown ended. So I got home from work, and he was streaming. He was playing a little NBA 2K. And I was like, oh, I didn't watch SmackDown tonight. And then that's when he told me, oh, we had the toast to Jeff Hardy, and he hated it. He didn't like it. He thought it was terrible. And you know what? I agree with him. After watching this whole segment was terrible. This was absolutely terrible. And with WWE bringing Jeff Hardy's real life problems into the storyline, it's absolutely disgusting. It is disgusting what WWE is doing with Jeff Hardy and bringing his whole life situation here with his DUIs, his drinking problems. It's disgusting. So we had Jeff Hardy coming to the ring. We had a bartender in there, had all these drinks and all like that set up in the ring. And the bartender was in there waiting with his bar. Jeff Hardy ended up taking the mic. He was looking at the bar, like the expressed look on his face was like, oh, this is ridiculous. And like I said earlier, this whole toast to Jeff Hardy, Sheamus toast to Jeff Hardy thing was supposed to happen last week on SmackDown, but of course, the tribute to the Undertaker show. So they had to move it to this week. And Sheamus wasn't even on last week's show. So Jeff Hardy ended up calling out Sheamus. And he's like, oh, let's get this over with. Jeff Hardy ended up asking if Sheamus is going to try to embarrass him or break him. So he was waiting for Sheamus to come out. Turns out, Sheamus wasn't there. Sheamus appeared on the big screen. So he appeared on the big screen from his home. And it was in front of his own bar. So Sheamus ended up saying that he knows how Jeff is a hothead. So he's given Jeff some space, which is why he's not there. Which is why he wasn't at the PC. So Sheamus ended up bringing up that Jeff Hardy ended up paying tribute to The Undertaker and that he was celebrating with his friends, last week. Sheamus went on and says that Jeff has a problem. He ended up saying not the drug and alcohol problem that has cost him so much money and also time in rehab and everything else. He ended up saying that he's talking about Jeff's problem with facing reality. So Sheamus ended up talking about beating Jeff Hardy at Backlash and how Jeff keeps sticking his nose in other people's business and that all is right again with him. Sheamus ended up calling Jeff Hardy sad and pathetic. He ended up saying that it breaks his heart because we've seen this all before from Jeff. Sheamus ended up talking about how Jeff is just lying to himself about everything. Sheamus says that he has found a solution to all of Jeff's problems, and that the answer is in one of the bottles at the bar. So Sheamus ends up raising a toast to Jeff. And he mentions him drinking himself to the floor. And then he also mentions his family and going on, to talk about Jeff's life being full of DUIs and photos, mugshot photos. And Sheamus ended up saying that Jeff will be nothing but and let me do this in Sheamus's voice, a junkie. That's because that's what Sheamus ends up saying to Jeff Hardy. He's nothing but a junkie or junkie or a junkie. That's what Sheamus says. That Jeff is nothing but a junkie. So Jeff ends up saying that Sheamus has to be the sickest person he's ever met. And he says, "Oh, is this funny to you?" And Sheamus ends up saying that he's here to help and not hurt Jeff. Sheamus ends up saying that Jeff doesn't have to live a lie anymore, and that he knows Jeff would love to jump back into the gutter with both feet. Which is why Sheamus ended up saying that he sent his bartender to help. He ended up saying, from one friend to another, he ends up saying bombs away. So the bartender ends up placing a glass of champagne in Jeff's face. Sheamus ended up keeping Jeff Hardy. He encouraged Jeff to have the drink. And Jeff ends up saying, "What's the worst that can happen?" So Jeff ends up going to drink the champagne. Sheamus kept on encouraging him. And then we see Jeff ends up dumping the champagne on the bartender. So he dumps the champagne on the bartender. And he then takes a bottle. He smashes the bottle over the back of the bartender's head. So we had Jeff end up climbing to the top rope. Jeff then delivered a swanton bomb to the bartender. And that was basically how SmackDown ended. Jeff Hardy ended up posing in the corner. He was staring down at Sheamus on the screen. And that was how SmackDown went off the air. But this whole segment was terrible. I know there were some people who enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm one in the majority of people who didn't like this segment and thought it was terrible. But all in all, SmackDown was an okay show this week. But anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I will see you all tomorrow night with the Monday Night Raw review. So until then, see you all tomorrow night.